we have no real media in this state. Well, you have us.
It's really time for a parent revolution.
Never let a good crisis go to waste. That's what the left did with COVID in so many different ways.
Wind energy, especially offshore wind, is a big loser and just another government boondoggle.
Like, what's going on?
People are fed up. They lied to us then. They're lying to us now. They're assaulting our families.
What we do is we look at the lies of the left that they keep pushing out, that America doesn't work for black people. That is not true.
They want to now monopolize truth and say, truth is only what we say truth is. Damn the data, damn the science.
The key with science is it always needs to serve objective thinking. They just call anyone who challenges them a science deniers.
They're evil.
Shut up or we'll cancel you.
What we're going through is a cultural revolution.
This is big, and this is how change begins.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Ocean State Current Command Bunker. Now playing from in the dugout, number 37, Mike Stenhouse.
A school that not only wants to form students, they want to form saints. Hey folks, welcome to In the Dugout. Your host, Mike Stenhouse here. For anyone who's been watching this show, you know that for years, our organization, My In the Dugout podcast, and many others have been highlighting the many concerns that parents have who became shocked about the poor quality and controversial content of the education that their children are receiving in K through 12 schools. And this is happening throughout Rhode Island. Many families, understandably, are looking for alternative educational paths for their kids. However, as most of you probably know, most families don't have the means to make that kind of switch, whether it's homeschooling, private schools, moving to a new district or new state. But today you'll hear about a school that offers a much more available option and a solution for such families. No other media has covered parents' concerns in schools like we have. In fact, I had a national article published not too long ago, and let me see if I can bring it up here for you, in a national publication called The Daily Caller. And while I'm not going to get into the details of this Jane Doe case you see here, I did talk about the need for reform in what is being taught to our kids in schools. And its curricula form, in my view, is not just enough. Eliminating this controversial, sometimes divisive content is not good enough. Our kids and all of us need salvation. I want to read a little excerpt from my opinion piece on the Daily Caller there before I bring on my guest. Reform alone, repealing curricula, falls well short of addressing the spiritual crisis our kids face. A generation hangs in the balance. Mere reform won't suffice. We need a revival, a bold return to God to save our children's future. Our children need salvation and a return to God's timeless principles and truths. And the founder of a local school here in Rhode Island, the Chesterton Academy of Our Lady of Hope in Warwick, I think you'll find kind of agrees with me on that. That school just won a national prize for their faith-based curriculum and innovative approach to teaching. The chairman of Rhode Island's only Chesterton Academy is my guest today, and we welcome to In the Dugout, Mr. Michael Casey.
Thank you, Mike, and thanks for inviting me to share our story.
You know, we've been following your school. It's been a while since we did an update, but years ago, Megan Riley, who I know is one of your, I believe, board members, Jim McGuinn, who is one of your, I don't know if he's a board member or just a big volunteer, but they were on my show regularly talking about a lot of this stuff going on in schools. And then Megan came to us one year and said, you know what, I'm involved with a bunch of people and we're looking to start a new school. And it became the Chesterton Academy. And you're now in your third year, and I want you to tell our state all about it. So where would you like to start, Michael, with why you got involved with this effort?
Well, I mean, in terms of getting involved, I think, as you mentioned, I think God is so good, and God has been so good to my family and to me that as my dad mentioned, he's still alive. He's 92. He mentioned something to me that, you know, a third of your life you learn. You have people in your life that help you, serve you, help you get on the right track. Then there's a third where you earn, where you're really got to put food on the table. And then there's a third where you give back. And if God's willing and gives you that strength to use those gifts. So this school, like we homeschooled 5 children. A lot of people cannot homeschool. It's just it's a pretty big lift. So we're blessed to be able to do that. But a lot of people can't do that. And then now you're in a situation where where do you go? Private schools are very expensive. It's hard, especially if you have more than one going through there. So and I'm at a point in my life right now where, you know, none of my kids are home. 4 out of the 5 are married. We have our 6th grandchild on the way. So it's
bless.
Yeah, there's a window there to give back. I think our faith community in Rhode Island is fragmented. I think this school can help bring people together that really want that community, want formation of their children. I'm not an educator. I'm a business person. So I think this is a time to really give back and to build something beautiful, and to, as you mentioned, the intellect is extremely important. The school looks at the great books, the great thinkers of our time. The way it's taught is in the Socratic method, which is where they're sitting around a table, communicating with each other, learning together, and then character building, virtue. And then, of course, that spiritual component. We've had almost 70 priests over the last couple of years that have celebrated Mass. We have Mass every day. We pray every day at the beginning and the end of the day. And that's not typical of schools, but it's part of those 3 pillars that Chesterton is set on: intellect, character, and spirituality.
So let me jump in here. I've been to one of those masses with you. I sat with you, and I want to get this out right away because this is the headline that made me want to reach out to you. Is that I want you to tell us a little bit about the Chesterton School Network, why you chose this network to start your religious school, and why, and about this award you won from the Yass Foundation.
Well, the Chesterton has 70 schools. They're growing. We were in a cohort that started in 22. I think there was maybe 10 or 12 in our cohort, and we go through this process monthly where we're meeting and on Zoom calls like this, and we have homework. So the reason for Chesterton is it's built. You know, I'm not an educator, as I mentioned, so it's to try to create something. It's all created. The curriculum is there. It's set. It's been refined since '08. The Yass Award, I think, is an affirmation that we're on the right track. It was given to the network, not just to our school. It's all of the network. And the Yass Award,
it's basically the Pulitzer Prize for education, right? I mean, that's how big this and prestigious this is, right?
Right. And it was $1 million prize that went with that. And the network will be trickling that down to help us, because that's, you know, we are part of that network. It's a little bit like a franchise, even though it's not to make a lot of money. It's just to basically get standards. We're getting accredited through them and accredited to make sure that we're all on the same page, same team, as you would say. No pun intended. So anyway, yeah. And so that's where that prize comes in. I think it's an affirmation that we're on the right track. And there were 23, I think, finalists this year. You know, it's based on education. Yeah, I mean, looking at innovation in education.
From their release, it says the Yass Prize is viewed as a Pulitzer for education innovation devoted to identifying and elevating the next generation of education change makers. Jeff, the aim of the Yass Foundation is to empower organizations that give students not only education, but also dignity, value, and a sense of family. And I think you and I know as Christian men that being part of God's family is the greatest sense of family we can all have.
Yes.
Okay, a little bit more about your school. You're in your third year. I think we conducted an interview with Megan as Riley as you were starting your first year. The amount of volunteer work, like you said, you don't have funding coming down from the state or from the federal government. You have tuition, you have donors, you're a nonprofit, you have volunteers, unbelievable, who got that building. Tell us about the building, how you renovated it, made it ready to become a school back in your founding year. What was it, back in 2023, right?
Yeah, we signed the agreement in 22 to become part of the network and to start the process. And the way the process starts is it's 18 months from when you sign, and then you go through with the cohort to open up the following year. So you start like February, you open the next August. We were in a situation looking for, you need to find a place. They have all these homework assignments. And at one point it's like, look, you need a building. And it's fascinating because you got to look at cash flow and you're raising money at the same time you're recruiting. And we ended up signing a lease in October because that's when that October is when you're recruiting for the next year. But we didn't have a building. So we're trying to get into it. We got into a plumbing retail store that was 3,000 square feet. We were making that our home. But then this school and church became available. We were driving by it every day. I was going by it. It was on Jefferson Boulevard. The other place was on Jefferson Boulevard, about 300 yards up the road. And our sign is still there. I mean, if you go up Jefferson, you'll see our sign. We call it, it's a joke. It's, Chesterton's North Campus. So this became available through the diocese. The church closed in 21. The school closed in 09, but actually was being used quite a bit for education. So we are able to acquire the building. We're one of the few Chestertons that actually own the building. We have a mortgage, and we started to go into town and moved in there August of, we signed May of 23, moved in August 23. A lot of volunteers, a lot of families. We're always looking for volunteers. If anyone has a gift from God and they want to give back, call me. We have people from all over the place with so many beautiful skills, and they just help. And like yesterday, they were putting flooring in. We raised money at our gala for the chemistry lab, and we put that in over the last couple of days.
All right, well, tell us what we're looking at here. It looks like we got some students and some maybe teachers and parents and other volunteers helping you put down new flooring in your school. I mean, right? I mean, this really is a team and family effort, right?
Yeah, that was yesterday. And water went in to the chem lab a few days ago. We had a plumber come in and put water in there. So yeah, it's that was one of the things we needed to do and wanted to do for our science.
New restrooms. Yep.
Yeah, we call them harvest missions. This is a harvest mission to a school out in New Bedford that was closed. We pulled not a very exciting topic, but we need stalls. The stalls we have are for kindergarten. They're about 3 feet tall. You can look over them. They're pink. They're ugly. And we tore those out. We had to, and now these came, and they're actually Chesterton colors. So yeah, it matches our lockers. We got the lockers from the Jewish Center. We want to thank them. They're up in East Providence. They gave us all of 80 beautiful lockers we brought in last Christmas. The flooring was donated. All that flooring for the whole school was donated by someone. And so we've been slowly putting that down. We're probably about 40% done with the flooring. We're just going right over it, what's there, and it's beautiful. So yeah, a lot of volunteers. Sorry if I'm talking too much, Mike.
No. This is why you're here.
I'm on my 5th cup of coffee. So
people hear from me enough. This is all about our guests. All right, I want to go back to sort of some of the foundational principles or motivation that you and your staff, your board, your teachers, your parents, your volunteers all bought into. And I mentioned it in my open, and I want to read to you and have you explain and expound upon how you opened your remarks at your organization's fundraising banquet in early November of 2025. All right, here's what you said. When we launched the school in 2022, we dreamed of something rare, a school where academic excellence, deep faith, and authentic joy come together, not just to form students, but to form saints. Wow, that is powerful. What are you thinking right there?
I mean, that's our mission statement. So it's you got to shoot high, and it's hard. I mean, that's a hard. If you think about saints, many of them were martyred. Many of them were not looked at favorably during their life, and it's afterwards. And I think we're all called to greatness. God wants us to do the best we can with the time we have here. And I think if you meet with the teachers are there for the right reason. They care deeply about the students. They roll up their sleeves, have lunch with them every day. They're there they're mentors. And I think there's so many statistics that show that you need to have multiple adults in your life that are positive influences, that encourage you, to help you to stretch when you're down, to build you up. And the goal would be to have the students do the same thing. And we've seen that time and time again with students helping other students that are struggling, to be there for them. And I'm not saying we're unique in that. I mean, I know in a lot of the stuff, I'm sure there's people listening saying that's how my school is. And by the way, I'm never going to say anything negative about other schools. This school is built for students and parents that are looking for something. And we're not going to have a D1. I know you played a lot of baseball and everything else. You're not going to see that with us. We may have some great athletes, but we're never going to be a D1 football powerhouse. Our numbers.
But you have athletic teams, right? What do you have? 44 students right now, and across.
Yeah, and we do have it. I don't want to downplay it. I mean, we do have a student on a co-op playing D1 hockey. So I mean, we do team up with other schools to do that. They're playing up in the northwest end of the state. We have a basketball team, but I mean, again, that's not our focus. Our focus is sports for the beauty of teamwork, learning how to lose, learning how to win gracefully. And it's not necessarily to get that golden ring.
Right,
it's nice to get that, of course, but that's anyway. I'm not going to.
I think to most people, and to me initially, the word that jumps out in that quote of yours I read was to form saints, and I get that, but I want to go back and focus on another term you used just before that: a school where academic excellence, deep faith, and authentic joy come together. I think when you and I first met, I had mentioned to you that I started doing a daily prayer routine on the Hallow app. I'm doing that more avidly than ever. I look forward to it. It's the first thing I do in the morning every single day for a good period of time. And the message this year during this Christmas season was how God wants us to have joy in our lives, to enjoy the fruits of his hands and his work. I mean, so many people are living in, you can still have joy even if you're suffering, even if you're going through hard times. Explain God's joy and how you what you teach about that to your kids.
Well, you're right. I mean, joy, there's a lot. First off, as I think everybody knows, there's a lot of hurt out there. There's a lot of people that are struggling at all ages, and you don't have to look far to find it. And what we're hoping for in the school, you're there 7:30 to 3:30, sometimes longer if you're in activities, but it should be an area where you can be joyful, even if you're in a situation outside of school that you're struggling, but you should have joy and be able to bring that joy out of the school when you're having difficulties. And joy is a little different than happiness. You can hear joy is happiness is, that next jolt in the arm to have some fun. And joy it's just looked at differently as it's a way of life. You can be in Calcutta like Mother Teresa and be joyful, even though you're in a situation where 99% of the world would be like, this is
right.
Not very fun.
Yeah, joy is something that lives in the heart. It's almost like a perpetual state of being, I think.
It is. And if you're living with purpose, joy is natural, but you do need to work at it. It's not something that comes naturally for probably 99%.
No, it doesn't. That's why
it's a constant battle. It's a constant battle.
No, you're right. You're right. No, I don't want people to get the wrong impression. You're a religious school. I believe it's in the Catholic tradition. You're a Catholic school. But it's not just about religion. I mean, you guys have you won the prize for innovation, education innovation, because you offer a very solid curricula. Talk about your non-religious traditional curricula.
So the curricula is 4 years. It's laid out over time. So we start with the ancient philosophers. We start with Euclid geometry. Some people go, "What's that?" I mean, that was the very beginning. I'm not an educator, so I'm not going to try to get too deep on any one of these. I did not go through a classical education. I went through public school system and, went to URI. So I'm learning as I go. I didn't even know who Chesterton was 6 years ago. Okay. So for what that's worth. But what I like about it, and by the way, when we taught in homeschooling, we actually taught in this way, even though we had 5 kids at different ages. It was a team effort, and the way we teach and the way the curricula is, it's the philosophers and the great thinkers of the time, and you march through it. It's integrated. It's an integrated curriculum, so you're working through that. The second thing is, we believe like Latin 4 years. People go, "You have Latin for 4 years? What's that? Why are you doing that?" Well, Latin, it's a dead language. Well, it really is not. If you go into any kind of politics, you go into science. I talked to my dad, who's a scientist, and he says, "You know what? I gutted my way through Latin, and I am so thankful I did, because it helps so much when you're talking to other scientists and when you're working with, genus, species. You kind of know what you're looking at." So, bottom line, it's on our website. Yeah, I'm talking quite a bit about the curriculum in different ways, but it's all out there, so you can look at it. But yeah, philosophy, theology, literature. It's taught in a way where you're around a table, so you're actually the class size is about 20. You want the students to be able to communicate with each other, everyone have a chance, and also be able to respect others and learn how to dialogue. It's all about learning and critical thinking and learning how to think, not necessarily what's coming at you, but digest and how to work through these tests of great philosophers or great educators and great thinkers.
So you brought it up. I was going to ask you this anyway. So who was G.K. Chesterton? You're the Chesterton Academy of Our Lady of Hope. Who was G.K. Chesterton?
Well, I'm reading a couple of his books, trying to really grasp on him. But he was a gentleman, beginning of the 1900s, English. He was a debater. He really was a strong debater. Really, a lot of what we're talking about here, he kind of was talking about back then, 100 years ago. He did become a Catholic convert later on in life. I think in like 1922, he became a convert. He didn't have any kids. Married, had a lovely wife, great quotes. If you look up Chesterton quotes,
great stuff.
He had a lot of wisdom. He was a caring person. When I say debate, he did it with such grace. I mean, we have a bunch of his tapes in our library. And I can't wait to get those cassettes in an old cassette player, listen to him on radio, listen to him, because he was so wise. And
he was a contemporary and I think good friend of C.S. Lewis, was he not?
He may have been. He was around that time frame. But I think what he's really known for is grace, joy, even in the face of adversity. He'd go nose to nose with someone that had totally different views, atheists, and then they'd have a cigar and a drink afterwards and they were best friends. You know, that's just a way. And I think as a society, we need a lot more of that, the being civil when you're in disagreement to be able to communicate.
All right. So let's just, can we philosophize for a few minutes here, you and I? Is that okay?
We can. I'm not much of one, but I'll do my best.
And I'll say, well, what I say is not necessarily the position of my organization, and you can say what you say is not necessarily a reflection of formally of your organization, but just as two Christian guys here. My favorite G.K. Chesterton quote, at least of the few I've seen, went along something like this, because I think it goes to the core of why I want to have you on today and what I spoke about in my open. He said, if you don't believe in God, it's not that you believe in nothing, it's that you will believe anything.
Yeah, that is one of his quotes.
And that's the problem today. Without God's truth being guidelines, people are adopting all kinds of false idols, false narratives, false notions, because they're not rooted in that foundation of God's truth. And I think what you said earlier, integrating that truth along with a solid, proven classical education and curricula is the best way that we can educate our young people to become productive adults. Your thoughts on all that?
Well, I mean, I'm probably all of us are, but I'm a work in progress, of course. And
we all are, yeah.
And the thing that I get the most out of the school, I'm not sitting in the classrooms, not teaching. You know, I'm working with the kids on the sidelines. It's not sports or something else, but going to your point, going to daily mass when there's a different priest every day. And many of these are young priests that have strong faith. And most of these priests can't help but share their story. First time they visit us, it's like they actually can't help but share their conversion story. You know, some of them are pharmacists, some of them are engineers. Some of them went into seminary at 15 or 17 years old. You know, they started very early on and they just felt called and they're still on fire. But to your point on, I think we need, some people are atheists or agnostic. And I think faith is a gift. It's one that you need to work at and continue on. But some people would say so many things are coincidental. I would say, yeah, take a hard look. There's so many miracles that happen around us that people just are oblivious to. I'm telling you, with this school, and I won't dwell on it, but there's been many situations that have occurred where we prayed novenas. We tried to pray for this, and we said, look, this is a tough situation, and it's amazing. I mean, you could talk to some of the parents early on and say, this stuff doesn't just happen. Right. But you don't want to seek for that. I mean, that's not, you can grab at straws everywhere. But yeah, I think the spirituality component, I think we all are called to be spiritual people.
It's a unifying force. It brings us closer together as a people, no matter what our beliefs or backgrounds are.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the thing.
Something is bigger than us. And someone's there. And I think
I've always said that one of the big, we've always had political differences in our country. Our country's had its share of sins. And, I mean, you look at everything from disagreements over slavery to the size of government, to taxes, to, all kinds of stuff. But it's up until the last 15 or 20 years, it seemed like at least we always had love of country and trust in God as those higher principles that kind of held us together, no matter what our other differences might have been. But I feel like we're even losing those two things as a nation. That patriotism, I think it's coming back now, but patriotism for a while was uncool. And we hear that trust in God and faith and religion, at least in people's lives, are coming back. Do you believe? Now, I mentioned how kids need salvation because of what I think other schools, I know you don't want to comment on, put them through. But in secular schools, K through 12 public schools. Many states are now returning religious studies, Bible studies. You can do that in a constitutional way in public schools. Do you believe, or do you want to even comment whether or not Rhode Island should considering following that path?
Yeah, I'm not going to comment. Sorry, Mike.
Right.
No.
Yeah,
as
you're
I
about
say,
your school. I get that. You're doing it.
I want to stay in our lane. Number one,
Yeah.
I think a lot of everything we do, and I know a lot of people that teach in the public school system that love their kids, and I have family members as well. And I think a lot of what we need in our country is more love, more sacrifice, and some of that is taught. Some of that is because you're the receiver. I don't know how many times I've talked to parents or spoke with people over the last 5 years where they were shocked that something was being done for them unconditionally. Unconditional love. I don't need anything back. If you do something out of true love, you don't want anything back.
That's true.
And I think when you look at the great generation, when you look at, my dad's part of that, and you look and you really spend some time with these people that sacrificed so much early on. I think that's where we need to come back to. Now it's a different animal. We got technology that we didn't have back in the 30s and 40s and a bunch of that, but the love for fellow man and the service unconditionally, and not that this is the only thing is what's going on here in my life right now. And I'm going to die at some point. And I want to get the most out of the 5, 10, 20 years I got left or whatever. I think there's more to life than that. Personally, that's maybe my belief. And I think if you believe in God, that it's the right thing it's just the right thing to do. And you'll have joy.
Yep. Yeah. There you go. Joy.
And you'll bring joy, and you'll help people breathe a little bit easier that day. And when you look at people, like, you can look everywhere. There are a lot of people giving. I mean, you go into any nursing home and you'll see these people that are not getting paid a lot, and they are doing it out of love for the
work.
Yeah.
With joy. And they're doing it with joy in the most difficult of circumstances. Yeah.
So anyway, that's.
All right, let's talk. So we've talked a little philosophically, foundational principles. Let's talk a little facts about the school.
Yep.
By the way, as I mentioned earlier, congratulations on order. You're going to be graduating your first high school class this spring, right?
Yeah. We combined the first 2 classes. You're able to do that when you start the school. And by the way, I know we've talked a lot about faith and everything, but these students that come out of these Chestertons go to the best schools, and they also, like, a lot of them go to the military academies. They're doing extremely well. And if anyone wants to look at the scores of the kids coming out, I know I haven't talked much about that, but this is a rigorous curriculum. I mean, if you're doing Latin, you're doing philosophy, theology, chemistry, advanced math. We're doing the same things that the other schools are doing, and it's small classroom sizes, and the kids are academically very well prepared for that, as well as when they're interviewing with schools or interviewing with employers, they want them. I've placed our seniors and juniors in local businesses. They go in there to interview and they get hired because they have good work ethic.
That's terrific.
So that's part of our mission is, with the woodworking shop and bringing in some of these other things is to bring skills in. But like we saw that Boy Scout, he did that for his Eagle Scout, by the way. That floor that went in yesterday, those were scouts that came in, and one of our seniors, that was his Eagle Scout project, and that's what he wanted to do. He got it approved. He went and raised the money. He did it. I had to sign a contract. The Boy Scouts do it well with 8-page, 10-page.
So the point being, it's not just about faith, it's about academic excellence as well. So just two quick questions on that. Have there been test scores, standardized scores where you can say your students are doing very well compared to the rest of the state?
We track using the STAR, which is what the state uses, and what the STAR assessment. We do it quarterly to see where they're doing. That gives us a reading of the teachers and the students. it's early, number one. Okay. So for me to say, oh, we're blowing it out, we're doing well. But the big thing is to look, I think, at the Chesterton model and all the students that came before us, because that is the curriculum. Yeah, I mean, I think it's
track record of success.
We may need to do one of these in a few years. Let's
okay. I got you.
When they're in their junior year in college. I have one student that's going. Looks like he's going to get into the electrical engineering department at URI. I put him in touch with an adjunct professor at the gala, and they had a great conversation. He came out of there on cloud 9. He said, "I think, and this professor is going to help him get in there." So. He's going for electrical engineering. Some go liberal arts.
So some of your seniors have chosen colleges already?
They're already in the loop on it. Yeah. I mean, some of them have applied to 4 or 5 colleges. I know one student that's done that. This particular student's applied to MIT as well as URI and a couple others. Yeah. I mean, we'll see how it goes, but you'll see how it goes. They're swinging the bat. They're swinging the bat right now, Mike.
All right, so just a few more facts. You got 44 total students right now?
I think it's about 44, yeah. There's one starting on Monday.
Across 4 grades?
Across 4 grades, yeah.
Okay, so roughly 10 to 12 per class.
Yeah, but early on we combined 2. We started with 17. Yep. I think there's 18 in our freshman class, so we're almost at capacity on that. This year we're shooting for 20 because 20 is a good number for what they call a section.
So if you had 20 per class, you can accommodate up to 80 or so or more students if the demand was there.
Yeah, I got a little bit over my skis early on when we were looking. I said, I think we can get 160. The largest Chesterton has about 160. We're on 3 acres. The school, believe it or not, the school we're in had 350 kids in it when it was in its heyday. No, but these were little kids, and I think the sisters jammed in 35 or 40 kids per classroom. So from a high school viewpoint, I say, hey, we can do 160 if they did that. But,
but the point being is you got a lot of room to grow still.
We do, but I think really realistically, when you look at a school, and I'm learning every day on it, 80 or 90 would be a good number to settle at and shoot for. And then, that'd be 20 times 4. To go to 160, we'd have to take a hard look at fundraising, looking at the campus. You also got to add students. Now you got 2 sections per grade. That anyone that's an educator would say that's, you got to look at more money. So I think that's our first step. And I think we could have a really nice school and be financially sound at 80, 90.
All right, let's talk about fundraising for a second. For the reasons I just alluded to and that we've covered extensively in years past on the show, many parents are not happy with public education. We see just like your family did, we see a lot of parents homeschooling, some parents either moving cities or moving out of state to find schools that offer curricula that match their values. And when possible, many students are choosing to go to private schools or parochial schools. Like, are you a parochial school, by the way?
We are. I think we may be the only lay-run Catholic school in the Diocese of Providence.
Okay.
We are. The diocese has been fantastic, very supportive. We are. We got the blessing from the bishop. All 3 bishops over the last 3 years have visited us. But we are. We're a Catholic school, but we're not directly, I guess, managed like a parish school.
But the students don't need to be Catholic to attend, do they?
No, I think right now, 10% of our student base is Christian. They're not Catholic.
Okay. Now let's get back to money. Now, many parents want a different education than what's offered in their zip code, and the government, tries to force them to go to. That's my opinion. But not all parents, not all families can afford a private education. Yours is very reasonably priced, but still it's a heavy lift for many, many families.
Yes.
Talk to us about what you want, what you'd like about your tuition, scholarships, financial aid, fundraising. Tie that all together for us so any parents who might be interested or grandparents sending their kids might have some idea what they're looking at.
All right. So our tuition's 8,400 and 600 for books materials. So let's say it's 9,000, fully loaded with everything. The other schools that are private are double that. You're basically looking at twice that. And by the way, I can see why, because that's the cost of education. The days of sister teaching or brothers teaching and for nothing is gone. So therefore you have to pay. And I get that. And you want to pay well, because teachers, I have a much greater appreciation for teachers now that I've watched them the last few years. That they don't have summers off, by the way, everybody. I used to think, oh, you only work 9 hours. No, 9 months a year. No. So the tuition is that. The fundraising, this 25 or about half the states have vouchers or something like that, which help the Chestertons in these other states. So they may get 8 or 10,000 a year that follows a child. And a lot of people compare us to people like in Orlando or in Texas and say, why can't you do certain things? And the bottom line is we have to raise 100%. We either through tuition, donors. It's unbelievable how many donors have come out of the woodwork. And I can say we have not turned down a parent yet or a student yet because of financial aid. About a third of our students are on some form of aid. Some of them are almost
aid provided by your organization.
What do you mean?
I mean, it's not state aid. It's donor money that you allow to give them a scholarship or financial aid to attend, right? It's internal aid from you, or are you talking about external aid?
Well, yeah, let me try to, I think I can put the bookends on this and just, so last year we raised 120,000 in tuition of aid. Of that, about 25% came from a tax program that businesses can redirect their funds to the general fund up to, I think it's $2 million a year.
Yeah, that's Rhode Island corporate tax credit scholarship.
Yep, it's program. A lottery. It's a lottery.
Yeah.
So for the most part, we're in an SGO, a scholarship granting organization, which is the diocese. So they said, hey, come on in. Because there's so much need and there's not a lot there. Usually we end up with about 1,500 to 2,000 that comes out of that if they qualify and they're within the poverty limit. All right. Then there's another bucket which sometimes comes from religious that say, look, they either know people or whatever, and there's probably about 20,000 that come in that way. The rest of it, which I think it was like 80 to 90,000, were from people. Generous people. I mean, we have people that are sponsoring 2 or 3 kids in the school. Those are big numbers. And they're just saying, look, we need this. Part of what I'm doing is creating cases. I'll create a case that says, look, here's the situation. What are we going to do? And that's kind of what I did at the gala was, what do we do? Half of our budget, I had to raise $500,000 in November.
And
the gap in operations is $500,000.
Let's see, there's give. I'm going to go to your giving page here. So you're a 501c3.
Yeah.
It's a tax deductible gift, correct?
Correct.
And you can take, people can make a small donation or they can sponsor an entire student if they choose to, right?
Yeah, there's some scholarships there too. If you go to the scholarships page, there's several people that have actually funded scholarships. So people write articles. There's the Hakeem. Where is it?
Let's see. Where is the scholarship?
Go to. You got to go to scholar admissions. I think it's under admissions. Merit and award scholarships. So if you look at this, if you scroll down, you'll see this one here, Nancy Key Memorial. This one here is from my mom, Rosemarie. That's a scholarship. And they have to write they have to write what they're going to do with their education. So it's not like a handout. No one gets 100% tuition. just so you're aware. Everybody has to pay a little bit, has some skin in the game, but these are scholarships. If someone has a loved one that they want, that really did something, and they want to have a memorial, they can do that. Or it can be anonymous. We're in the Bitcoin business now,
Wow.
So we now are set up with Coinbase. So people have been doing that. We do stock. We have a whole setup over there in different ways of collecting money. We need that. We need a wide net. We got to make it easy for people. That the other thing is with the retirement plan, we have several people that are over 75, I think, which you can actually donate your distribution out of your
IRA.
Yep. So some people, I have someone that's given 15,000 because they're at that age where they got to take it out and it becomes income.
Okay.
So they can redirect that to us, and then it takes off their income. So if there's some medical categories of Medicare, it can help offset that. So sometimes it makes sense. I'm getting in the weeds a little, but the general message is we need to be creative. We are being creative on ways of fundraising, because the last thing we want to do is say no to a family that is on mission, that wants their child to be in this environment. And it would be a shame to not let them.
All right, let's spend one more minute on what we brought up before. The Rhode Island does have this corporate tax credit scholarship program, but compared to educational savings accounts and scholarships and other, quote, school choice programs across the country, Rhode Island's program is relatively meager. It only offers the one form of school choice, which is these corporate tax credit scholarships. There are many other forms of school choice that our state lawmakers refuse to consider seriously. And my commentary is because of the power of the teacher unions in this state. But you mentioned something that other Chesterton academies in other states, potential students there are enjoying much more financial aid opportunities, correct?
Yeah, and that, when I go to their conference, we have a conference every year. Hundreds of people go. So I get to meet other board chairs, other headmasters, people that are running these schools. And when I talk to them about the financials on these, it's like, we get like 10,000 per student, or 8,000 or 7,000 per student. That's huge. That takes so much of the edge off on that one side of the running the school. And you know what they say, no money, no mission, right? That's something that every fundraiser has told me. By the way, I'm not a fundraiser. That was the last thing I said I was going to do with this school, was to go out and ask for money. And now that's all I do.
That's all you do.
People come like you came to Mass. Hey, come to Mass, see the schools, have lunch with the kids, see what's going on here. And I offer that to you again, because lots changed in the last year and a half. Anyway, just got to be creative. Right. To answer your question, it's a hard.
I'm in the same boat as you, Michael. I have to raise money for my organization. I didn't want to do it. I didn't think I'd be doing it, but guess what? When you're the man, you're the man. You gotta do it. Hey, all right. So last question. So for any parent, aunt or uncle, friend, grandparent interested, has a student in mind they think could benefit from the kind of education you offer, what steps should they take? Should they go to the website? Should they give you a call? What should happen for anybody who might want to explore an educational opportunity at your academy?
Well, it's two things. Open house, January 24th from 9 to 11:30. If anyone wants to come visit there, we have shadow days regularly. We have one next week. Students that want to come to spend the day. That's the best thing to do, is let your grandchild or child come and hang out with us, see what it's all about. Call me. I am probably on there. I'm the recruiter as well. We are lean, again, we're only started our third year, so we don't have a lot of staff, a lot of volunteers, but I am the point person for recruiting. I do have a great young lady that's helping me, Kateri, and between the two of us, we make make sure that we roll it out so that we can answer any questions that people have. So did that answer your question? There's a phone number, there's an email, there's a sign up for the Shadow Day. There's a sign up for the open house. It's on our website.
And it's chestertonri.org, and I'm sure they'll find whatever they're looking for.
We also have a Facebook page, and we have an Instagram page that's pretty active. If people want to see what's new, like, we had our gala, we had our drama, we had our lots has happened recently. We had a concert, so you can see some of the things that are going on with the school on a regular basis there too. And join our email. We have an email that goes out once a month to give an update of what's happening with the school. So again, send any info request or register for our website on our website.
And have you found that parents are satisfied with the education their kids are getting?
Absolutely. And I mean, that's the other thing on the open house is a lot of our parents come and you can actually sit down and chat with them one-on-one. They're the best for that. Those pictures that you sent, those were the families, several families were there laying flooring. They are part of the community. I mean, they're part of the solution. It's not drop your kids off. It's, I have dads that are
you're part of a family. Yeah.
2 dads are teaching, are doing the sports. 2 parents are running our pro-life group that just started our club. So parents, if you look at anything on the Chesterton Network website, you'll see that parents are the ones, and we're partnering with the parents. And I think when you do that, then you have happy parents, you have happy kids.
Well, nothing could be, we've been the biggest parental rights advocates in this state, and parents must be involved at this critical phase of young students, young children's lives. And that's where I believe public education has gone wrong, is that the schools and the government think they're the parents and they don't need the biological parents as much in their lives. And the fact that you integrate them into the school as part of that family and you bring such joy, again, I'm going to go back to that word, when you are together as a family, I think that's what makes your school great. At least that's what I experienced in the few times I visited you. Michael Casey, founder and chairman of the Chesterton Academy of Our Lady of Hope in Warwick, Rhode Island. There's a few more. You're the first in New England. There's a few more popping up in Massachusetts and Connecticut next year. But you were the first. You are a trailblazer. You need to be thanked for what you've done to allow this option to those families. And we wish you a blessed 2026 and great success in the growth of your school.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for spending time with me.
Michael Casey, folks, visit his organization's website, chestertonri.org. Thank you, our viewers, for tuning in. Look, we do deep dive interviews, and there's a lot to talk about. I had a lot more notes to talk about with Michael Casey, but there's only so much time we have. And like he said, we'll have him back, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of his school's accomplishments. Until then, I'm wishing all of you as well a blessed 2026. Mike Stenhouse out. See you next time.